Hello and welcome to Policy Square. Policy Square is a series of dialogues with policymakers and thinkers hosted by Primus Partners and Business World. In this edition of Policy Square, we are joined by the Honourable Member of Parliament, Dr. Fauzia Khan. Dr. Khan is a member of the Rajya Sabha from Maharashtra. She is the National President of the Nationalist Mahila Congress, the women's wing of the Nationalist Congress Party, the NCP. She was also earlier a minister in the Maharashtra government. Apart from her political phase, Dr. Khan is also an educationist. She is the president of the Federation of All Maharashtra Minority Education. Ma'am, welcome to Policy Square. In this edition of Policy Square, we would like to discuss some questions around social and financial inclusion, particularly around women and the marginalized.
That's very nice.
Ma'am, the government across the country has been trying to increase the participation of students in higher education. Yet we find every year that the number of students transitioning from secondary to higher education, tertiary education, fall short of the targeted numbers. So in your opinion, are there any further efforts we need to make to bridge this gap?
Yeah, this is a very relevant problem, and the government has tried to address this in the national education policy as well, that they want to take this up to 52%. That's the target the government has set for itself. But what I feel is that higher education and employment have to be, very, very compatible with each other, which we don't see today. After procuring higher education also, a person doesn't feel that he'll be employed. We need to study what are the reasons for this. Is our curriculum up to the mark? When we have qualified people, are they employable people as well? So you will find a big gap. Because when we interview people for an organization, we see that we have got very high qualifications, but then we don't find the right people for it. So what is missing? We need to study that what is missing, and we have to try to make sure that we prepare our human resource that way. Today, what is the quality of our higher education? If you go towards that, we must see our global ranking. Today, our global ranking in India, even our highest level institutions, our IITs, IIMs are below 500th rank in the global scenario. So this is a matter of concern. We need to improve our quality of education. We need to make it more skill based. We need to make it relevant and applicable, because it is mostly theory based, whether it's medical education, whether it's engineering, whether it's teaching. If you see the B.Ed and D.Ed courses today, I don't think after doing B.Ed and D.Ed our teachers are really ready to come and teach. So we don't find them capable enough, and that is why I feel that there has to be a big overhaul in making of the curriculum and in improving of quality, without which this ratio that the government wants to take up to 52% will not be possible. And if we focus on quality of education from primary level to secondary and tertiary level, only then I think this dream can come true.
Thank you, ma'am. Let me come to the question of, since you mentioned the gap, and bringing people, bridging both the employability as well as the education employability challenge, that link. We'll come back to that shortly. Before that, I just want to address a question of some barriers. So gender is a biological difference.
It is.
But the role of gender in culturally plays a different function. So there is one set of roles reserved for women, and yet another set of roles which is marked out for women, and which may be fair, because social and cultural norms have their own place in our systems. But this gender-based difference actually leads to gender-based discrimination. And this is one barrier that girls and women face when they try to access equal opportunities either in continued education or in decision making regarding financial decision making. So in your views, how can we nudge the system to encourage girls to come out more?
Well, as you rightly pointed out, it's the social mindset which is our problem, and we need to address that, because unless our patriarchal setup we are able to at least make some difference in it, I think we'll not be able to move forward here, no matter what the government does. The government can only work as a facilitator here. It's basically the social thinking which needs a change. But what government can do is that government can make ownership of the parental property equal for both men and women. I think that can be a game changer, because if today why boys or sons are considered more important is because they are the heir and they will be the support for the old age and things like that. This is what society thinks. But tomorrow, supposing we come out with some legislation which makes it mandatory for both son and daughter to have equal share in the parental property, I think then there will be no difference left. Whether it's a boy or a girl, both will be the same, as it is there in many other countries. So I think this is something which if we come forward with this kind of thing, the social mindset also will start changing.
I think very well pointed out. Here I would also like to talk about the self-image that women and girls have. I was recently in a part of a panel of women deliberating on women-led development, and a co-panelist, who works in financial inclusion for women, she made a comment which has stayed with me. She said that women do not have a comfortable relationship with money. Now, if we want women to come out more, and take, be equal, like you said, both boys and girls becoming an equal, recipient of their family lineage and legacy and share of their parents' property. This is one change we would all need to work collectively on, so that girls start viewing themselves a bit differently.
The issue of perception is okay, I agree with it. But I beg to differ when you say that women are lesser financial managers than men. I don't agree with it. I feel women are better financial managers.
True that.
Because women manage their household finances beautifully, and they are better managers as well. They have better multitasking abilities. So women have got many more strengths, but unfortunately perceptions have made them feel that they are less.
True.
And a lack of exposure also, we can say, because men are more exposed in society, so they have got more exposure to like practical things. But one thing, in our local self-government, there's a political reservation given. And because of this political reservation, I feel we are slowly empowering women. They are coming forward, they are taking leadership roles in the Zilla Parishads and panchayats and corporations and things. But here what the government can do is we can provide more financial literacy, more legal literacy. Like, women should be aware of their own rights, and as entrepreneurs, if they want to take up a business, we have to come out with some kind of modules which cater to wholesome education about a business, like the legality, what are the licenses required for a certain business to be set up, what kind of consumer rights she is going to deal with, or what kind of financial capabilities she must have, or also how to make a business successful by better branding, by better advertising. All this, as a total package, as a module must be delivered to empower women to become better entrepreneurs. So I think this is needed, but inherently women possess more capability than men. That is my point.
I think that's very well pointed out. In fact, you brought up the point of women in Panchayati Raj institutions as well, and political empowerment. And yes, 50% of our population is women. But here I would just like to come back to the fact that even if they are part of the workforce and even if they are contributing to GDP, women tend to remain hidden or invisible. And I think this is where we, and this is again a view that we need to push women in, not just in the labor force, but into senior and more managerial roles. Careers in IT, probably careers even in more male-dominated professions, so that that whole that confidence and that whole self-image, inclusive leadership behaviors, which are not only at times displayed by men but also by women, that I can do it.
Yeah, our society has really pushed back women's confidence. They possess capability, but they lack the confidence to assert themselves. This is what has been seen in the corporate world, where they may be very capable, they may be equal to the men, but somehow they don't assert themselves, and this pushes them back from the managerial or the leadership positions. But what I feel is that here this patriarchal mindset can only be changed, with a big jolt, and that jolt can be a quota. So unless you have a quota given, I don't think the men will allow the women to come forward. And that is why, whether it's political reservation, that should be the first step, because once you have representation, women will start talking about women, and then this will slowly come into the corporate sector. This will also come into other private employment areas. But first of all, the women must lead, and where can they lead? First is at political level, because we are seeing a very good impact of the reservation in the local sector, local self-government. And initially, men used to work for the women. If they do even now, women are simply elected, but it's the man who's actually working for the women, and that's not a good thing, because this whole initiative is to empower the women. But recently, when I was there for a felicitation program of village sarpanch, I noticed that this time I saw much more educated women, much more dynamic women who have come as panchayat leaders there. So that time I felt that yes, a transition is taking place, and it's a whole revolution, because this is a mindset for thousands of years. We are going to fight a tradition that is existing for thousands of years. So what do we have to do? Slowly these women will get empowered, and slowly they will take up their own roles. I'll talk to you about one kind of mindset, in a particular situation. In my own district, there was a meeting of the DPDC, this is district planning, and the head of the Zilla Parishad was on the stage, and her husband was sitting right in front there, down. And there was some conversation, and this woman put up her own point. She was an educated woman, and she put up her own opinion, which the husband differed with. So sitting from down, he said, what does she understand? She's a woman. Now that was something which the head of the Zilla Parishad, who is almost the first citizen of the whole district, is being said by the husband that she doesn't understand. This is exactly the mindset that we have to combat.
Correct.
That women don't understand, and this perception has to be changed. So that is why I think women have to come into leadership roles. Women have to be ensured of guarantee. You know, somebody pointed out to me that why not Manarega for educated people?
True.
You are giving job guarantee for laborers, but let's have a Manarega scheme. Let's think about it for people who are qualified, and particularly women. So we'll give them a guaranteed job, and we'll also take them up towards leadership roles if some initiatives, you know, very, very revolutionary initiatives are taken up.
True.
But then even in the government, we have to fight through like
Yes.
half population.
Thank you. Thank you for this discussion and your insights, and we look forward to more and more, policy coming out, from your end, and hearing you in Parliament.
It's been very enjoyable talking to you. Thank you very much.